Horses get sold for €100, and some for millions. Sometimes you're not even sure if it is a horse. This year, one horse was sold for more than a luxury sports car. But how do you decide what your horse is worth? What if you're asking way too much or way too little? Because pricing your horse wrong could mean no sale at all, or the wrong buyer walking away with your hard work. Let's talk about how to price your horse fairly, confidently, and strategically. Why pricing your horse correctly really matters. Let's be honest, the very first thing people notice in a horse ad is the price. Before they watch a video, before they read a word of your carefully written description, they look at that number. And in just a second, they decide, worth a look or skip. If your price is too high, many buyers won't even click. They might assume the horse is out of their league or not worth the money based on what little they've seen. And if your horse stays online too long without serious interest, people start to wonder, why hasn't it sold yet? What's wrong with it? But going too low isn't the answer either. A low price can attract the wrong type of buyer, the just looking for a deal crowd, who may not be the right match for your horse at all. It can also create doubt. Is this horse sound? Is it poorly trained? Why so cheap? And worse, you may end up losing money after all your time, effort, and investment. That's why setting a realistic, fair price is one of the most important steps in selling a horse. It helps serious buyers find you faster, it creates trust, and it saves you from weeks or even months of wasted time and awkward conversations. Getting the price right from the start, it's not just smart, it's respectful to your horse, your work, and your buyer. What happens if you price too low? Pricing your horse too low might seem like a smart move. Maybe you want a quick sale or you're worried no one will pay more. But in reality, it can cause more problems than it solves. First of all, you're not just undervaluing your horse, you're also undervaluing all the time, effort, and care you've put into its training, management, and development. A low price can send the wrong message, even if the horse is great. People might assume there's something wrong with it. Maybe it's unsound, difficult to ride, or has some hidden issue. Then there's the type of buyer it attracts. Lower prices tend to bring in bargain hunters, people who are looking for a cheap deal, not necessarily a good match. They may not have the experience or the setup your horse needs, which can lead to disappointment on both sides. And here's the tricky part. Once your horse is out there at a low price, it's hard to go back. If you raise the price later, people get skeptical. They start asking questions, and that can slow things down even more. So, while it might feel safer to start low, it usually works against you. Setting the right price from the beginning doesn't just protect your investment. It helps your horse end up in the right hands. What factors actually determine a horse's value? So, what is your horse really worth? There's no magic formula, but there are several key factors that help determine a fair price. And it's not just about what you paid or how much you love your horse, though we know that part's tough. Let's start with age and training. A young horse with potential is worth something different than an older schoolmaster. But it's not always as simple as more training under higher price. For example, a 4-year-old jumping 1.00 meters is impressive. A 10-year-old at the same level, less so. And if a young horse has done too much too soon, that can raise red flags for buyers. They might worry about long-term soundness. Show experience and results add value too, especially if the horse has been consistent and confident in different environments. Then there's temperament and rideability. Is your horse easygoing enough for an amateur or a kid, or does it need a professional rider? The more versatile and reliable a horse is, the broader your pool of buyers becomes. Don't forget conformation and health. A well-built horse with good vetting, both clinical and x-rays, gives buyers peace of mind. And of course, bloodlines can play a role too, especially if the horse comes from proven or popular lines. Lastly, be honest about any issues or limitations. Being upfront actually builds trust and helps you find the right match. How to compare your horse to the market. Once you have a rough idea of your horse's value, the next step is this. Check the market. Look at what similar horses are being advertised for. Same age, same level, same type. Scroll through sales platforms, Facebook groups, or professional websites. This gives you a starting point. But here's the key: asking prices aren't always selling prices. Just because a horse is listed for 25,000 euros doesn't mean it actually sells for that. Some ads stay up for months with no interest, while others disappear in a few days. Pay attention to what moves fast. That often reflects real demand. It can also help to ask trusted professionals or trainers what they think your horse is worth. Someone with market experience can give honest, current feedback that's not clouded by emotion. Don't forget to factor in season and location. In spring and early summer, there's usually more demand. People want to prepare for the show season. And depending on where you live, prices can vary significantly. A horse might be worth more in a competition-heavy area than in a quiet rural region. So take your time. Research well. The more you understand the market, the more confident you'll feel when setting your price. And the more likely you are to attract serious, realistic buyers. What costs can you include in the price? Now let's talk about what you're actually selling. Because it's more than just a horse. You've probably invested time, training, and care. That all matters. And yes, it should be reflected in the price. Start with education and experience. Has the horse been professionally trained? Has it competed? Has it had solid exposure to different environments? Indoors, outdoors, trailers, traffic? That all adds value. Then think about the daily care. Hoof care, dental checks, vaccinations, worming, even just regular handling and groundwork. These things may seem small, but they all build toward a well-rounded, reliable horse. Vet work and pre-sale preparation also count. Maybe you've done a clinical or X-ray check recently, or had the saddle fitter out. If the horse has been thoroughly checked and maintained, buyers will feel more confident, and that can justify a higher price. Don't forget extras. Are you including tack, a bridle, rugs, or boots? These can add convenience for the buyer, and some will happily pay a bit more for a ready-to-go package. That said, be reasonable. Your goal isn't to itemize every euro you've spent. It's to offer a horse whose value feels fair and justified. A price that reflects the total picture, the horse, the training, and the care, will always be easier to explain and easier to sell. Pricing strategy. How to position your horse on the market. So now that you know what your horse is worth, how do you present that price to the world? First tip, build in a little room for negotiation. Most buyers expect to negotiate, even if just a little, so don't list your absolute bottom line. Instead, price your horse slightly higher than the minimum you're willing to accept. Next, be prepared. Serious buyers will ask questions, sometimes a lot of them. They'll want videos, vet info, background stories. If you've owned the horse for a while, they might even ask for older videos or want to see how the horse looked a year ago. That's a good thing. It means they're invested. Make sure your story is clear, consistent, and honest. Also think about how you frame the ad. The clearer and more complete your description is, the more confident a buyer will feel. Add recent video footage, but also include calm, everyday moments. Grooming, standing still, trail riding. It's all part of the picture. And remember, the way you talk about your horse shapes the buyer's mindset. If you're hesitant, unclear, or overly emotional, it might raise doubts. But if you speak with calm confidence, backed by facts and fairness, people listen. You're not just selling a horse, you're offering an opportunity. And the right price makes that opportunity feel real. Honesty sells faster. Here's something that's easy to underestimate, but incredibly powerful. Honesty. When you're open and transparent about your horse, the good and the not so perfect, buyers feel safer. They're more likely to trust you, to ask questions, and ultimately, to make a decision. It's tempting to focus only on highlights, but the truth is, every horse has something. Maybe it's a minor stable habit. Maybe it needs a confident rider, or isn't great with the farrier. Sharing that from the start doesn't scare people off. It filters in the right kind of buyer. And the more you show through good video, consistent behavior, and a clear history, the less people feel like they need to dig. You've already done the work for them. That makes your horse more appealing, not less. In the end, the goal isn't just to sell your horse, it's to find the right match. A buyer who understands the horse, appreciates it, and can offer a good future. That kind of sale feels good. For you, for the horse, and for the new owner. So don't just aim to convince people. Aim to connect with the ones who truly fit. Because honesty doesn't just make sales smoother, it builds trust. And trust is what really sells horses. I hope this video helped you feel more confident about pricing your horse fairly and clearly. But now I'm curious, how do you approach pricing? Have you ever struggled with setting the right number or had a sale that didn't go as planned? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your experience. And if you're interested in how I personally handled the sale of my own horse, from preparing the ad to finding the right buyer, check out my previous video where I walk you through the entire process. Don't forget to subscribe if you want more tips, real stories, and behind-the-scenes insights from the horse world. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.